Alrighty, we are just going live any minute now. Come on. Since we are live, a little bit of a lag between Rumble and okay, let's check some of our other platforms, possibly. Let's go here. Let's see, let's go. Testing. Let's see. I think we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just getting to where I need to get, and all right, we should be good. So yeah, we're getting ready for the Starship launch, attempt number 3 from Mr. Elon Musk and SpaceX and all the crazy people down there that are making beautiful things happen. Like I say, we're just using fair use commentary over the top of what's going on today. I believe last I checked, it was 8:52 was the scheduled start time. So we got Starship. You got Starship Overview, which is amazing rocket. 397 feet tall, 29.5 feet in diameter, 30 feet diameter. Holy crap. Payload capacity 100 to 150 tons, fully reusable. Height of I think this is Starship 24 with booster 10 today. So we got height of 50 meters, 9-foot diameter, 9-meter diameter or 30-foot diameter. Propellant capacity 2.6. Actually, we'll go 1,200 metric tons. Yeah, it's pretty freaking amazing. And the like I say, booster 10 is 232 feet standalone with way too much propellant. Check see if we get any audio. Hey, we do got full audio. Starships are for outer space, but we're going there someday. All right, let's see if okay, they're still saying 8:52 a.m. I don't know if it might be Central Time, so it's hard to say. So we're kind of just playing this one by ear. Fun fact: starships are for outer space. Well, and the thing is they're going to be outer space. The way they're set up, I mean, the eventual idea is to throw a tanker up into outer space, launch starships up there, dock with the tanker, refuel, and then go on to Mars from there, or the moon, or wherever they want to go. And that's basically what Elon has envisioned. So, Nibs, how are you doing this morning? Must be early morning for you. Sorry to bug you so early, man. Other than a horror fan and a Scooby-Doo freak, I'm actually quite a space nerd, too. I absolutely love, ever since I was a little kid. So, I'm just kind of had opportunity. I mean, look at that. That is just amazing. I mean, that's bigger than the Apollo rockets that went to the moon. That's how crazy that is. Yep. I'll learn more. I can't watch right now. So they must have bumped the time out a little bit. But here's the trajectory test, flight test time line. Water landing for the booster 10, and hopefully a water landing if all goes well for Starship 24. Just tearing my walls down, but good. I'm doing pretty good, other than I haven't had enough coffee into my system yet. So how are you prepping for your move, or are you just still in a holding cycle? And that will give us a full. See if it goes Starship. Here we go. We get some more. It's an overview. That's it, standing on the launch pad. It's just amazing stuff. No, I got coffee. I just can't get it down the throat fast enough. You know how it works. Yeah, it does. It will sneak up on you faster than you know. Like I said, the more little stuff you can do now, the less insanity you have at the end of the month. So, I mean, you're almost at the halfway point at this point. What else we got here? Oh, yeah, payload delivery. Yeah, they're going to be testing the payload delivery door too, if they make it to outer space. Okay, shame revoke. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Not worthy. Not worthy. I mean, who thought of that Pez dispenser launch system? You got to think outside of the box. I mean, Elon does think outside the box. I don't think he ever thinks inside the box. That's why he's, one of the richest men in the world. So, and the moon mission, that is just, it's just amazing. I mean, they put it into perspective. If you see the little astronauts out the bottom, that is the actual right. That's the right proportions right there. Oh, geez. Wow. Now, is that noise canceling foam? Is that to keep your studio space quiet, or is that to keep the noise from your neighbors out or roommates, whichever it might be? I mean, I'm kind of lucky. I'm on the third floor of where I'm at, and there's just one bedroom up here off the side, and these walls are pretty sound tight. But if I was downstairs on the second floor, I have a neighbor underneath us who's like a nasty, boozing, binge drinking drunk that like rages for like 4 or 5 days straight, nonstop noise. So I wish I could soundproof my floors, but that just ain't happening. All righty, what else we got for pictures? Oh, here we go. Interplanetary transport. Woo-hoo. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah. I mean, the one thing I've done, I put a noise canceling filter on my mic, and literally I got a chair that's like 6 feet over here, and if someone's sitting in that chair, unless they're yelling, they don't get picked up by the mic, and it's like direct line to the mic too. So yeah, I got pets though, and I got one cat. I don't know which one of the two that she's a bitch, and she uses the litter box only when she wants to. Yeah, the dog is good though. He would love carpets. He's off camera right now in the guest chair. All right, what next we got here? Talking about the cat. There she is. Oh, I'm going to have to shut the door real quick before she gets in here. There we go. Yeah, I just got a cheap old boom. Like I said, my stream setup cost me about $35 on Amazon. So, I mean, the rest of the equipment, that's a different story. You know, computers, screens, all that stuff. But yeah, the actual screen setup. Let's see, Earth to Earth transports also. And this is the key, is on orbit refueling. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, right. It's the beautiful wife messaging. So yeah, oh, it'd be interesting. And here's a nice shot of Boca Chica, Florida. Oh, Florida. I take it. Boca Chica, Texas. Yes, almost Mexico. That's about as far down on the coastline that they go. Kind of craziness. And more about Starbase. Now I gotta double check just to make sure we haven't gone live yet. Might be an hour out. That's my fear. Let's go SpaceX. Starship third test launch. Watch. Oh, here we go.
Boosters and ships, just as we do with Falcon 9 and Heavy boosters, where we've recovered 283 to date. Starship's rapid reusability is key as we begin missions to the moon and beyond.
Even though recovery is not planned, the telemetry and data we receive all the way to the end is what we're looking for, particularly with regard to the ship's temperatures during reentry and how the heat shield will perform. The data that we gather today, of course, will help us continue to build a rapidly reusable Starship for the future. Now, much like our first 2 flight tests, today also still just a test. Our goal is to gather data to continue iterating and ultimately improve Starship.
That's exactly right. The primary goal for Flight 1 was to clear the pad, and we did that and got a lot of great data that helped us improve the vehicle and the pad infrastructure that you see today. The primary goal of Flight 2 was to get all the way to stage separation, which we did, and even got a little extra.
For Flight 3, we've added some ambitious tests highlighted by an attempt to transfer several tons of propellant between the tanks inside Starship itself, as well as the first ever relight of a Raptor engine in space and the opening and closing of Starship's payload door.
Yeah, a lot of
when Starship takes astronauts to the lunar surface as part of NASA's Artemis program, it will be refilled in space by a Starship tanker spacecraft before boosting itself into a lunar orbit, like you see here. Transferring a large amount of cryogenic liquid in space has never been done by anyone.
I should have switched this around.
So we'll be looking to get data on some of the fundamental physics in play here, like managing pressures, temperatures, propellant settling, all as we prepare for eventual ship-to-ship transfers. The ability to refill Starships once in orbit will be critical for landing on the moon.
Oh, there we go.
And is a key
Yep, and we got our first buffer. Yay!
technology for enabling deep space exploration and ultimately flights to Mars.
Now, we're also attempting the first ever relight of a Raptor engine in space, and we'll need that capability for future in-space maneuvers and deorbit burns. It's important to note that what we'll attempt today is not a burn required for Starship to re-enter on today's test. We are intentionally flying this new steeper trajectory so we can test things like engine relights without substantially changing where we expect to splash down. And if Starship manages to make it all the way to re-entry, we will collect valuable data on the vehicle as it flies through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, or more than 5 times the speed of sound. We expect it'll look something like this animation on your screen with the heat shield tiles facing down. We'll use the Earth's atmosphere to brake the vehicle and then get us into a controllable regime as we go towards splashdown. Now, we did validate Starship's ability to fly and land at subsonic speeds during our suborbital flights several years ago, and gathering data on the aspects like heating and vehicle control while we're traveling way faster will become critical to eventually bringing Starships back from space for rapid reuse.
We'll also attempt to open and close Starship's payload door for the very first time, a capability that we'll need when Starship starts flying our next generation Starlink satellites. And there you can see an animation of what that will look like as the satellites are deployed one by one through a slot near the top of the spacecraft. So at this point in time, we are approaching T-minus 21 minutes until liftoff. Let's check in with Dan for a countdown update.
Yes, Dan. Take it away, Dan.
Hey, thanks, Kate. Hey, everybody. I'm Dan Hewitt. Good morning. Welcome to Starbase. I'm coming to you from the Raptor's Nest, where I'm here with some of our flight controllers, also our Pad Red team. We're just behind the Mega Bay. Those are super heavy boosters right behind me, getting ready for the next 4 flights after this one. So we're looking to launch a lot this year. The countdown has been pretty clean so far. We're not tracking any issues that are gating us on the hardware side and the vehicle side from that on-time liftoff at 8:25 a.m. Central Time. That's our T0 right now. We primarily shifted later as we were just working to clear the range. The other big watch item today is going to be the winds. The winds have started to pick up. We're still looking to be below our limits, but there could be a hold at T-minus 40 seconds just to make sure that the winds are acceptable before we go. We are actively loading propellant on board the vehicle. You can see by the frost lines starting to build up. Looks like we're about 80% on the ship main tanks right now and a little over 60% on the booster. Now, Starship uses liquid methane as its fuel, liquid oxygen as its oxidizer. Both of those get cooled down to cryogenic temperatures, so several hundred degrees below zero. And if you followed along with our previous 2 flight tests, the prop load timeline today looks a little bit different. Those first flight tests, it took us about 90 minutes to load all of the prop on board. But since the second flight, we made some pretty significant upgrades to make that time shorter. We added some additional fuel and LOX pumps just to increase our capacity. We expanded the number of heat exchangers and installed a dedicated fill drain line for each stage. But they were sharing one before, now they each have their own. That's just that main pathway to get the propellant to the vehicle. We're aiming for about 51 minutes for today's operation to fully load prop. We did that successfully on our wet dress rehearsal that we did recently. Eventually, though, we're trying to get that time down to about 40 minutes. Just for some context, that's about 5 minutes longer than we take on Falcon 9, but we're doing it with 10 times the amount of propellant. Now, the propellant load on ship started at about T-minus 53 minutes, booster right around T-minus 42 minutes. We are about to pause loading on the main tanks of ship, switch over to the header tanks, and then switch back to close out the main tanks. We're expecting all of the prop to be on ship at about T-minus 3 minutes, 30 seconds, and then booster prop load ends at T-minus 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, our final countdown and startup sequence is going to be the same as Flight 2. We already tested this on this booster when we did its static fire. Looking back for Flight 1, we lit those Raptor engines on the booster and lifted off about 6 seconds later. Flight 2, we reduced that time by almost 2 seconds. That just helps reduce the stress on the ground systems, improve the efficiency of the rocket. But right now, we're just about to pass 18 minutes away from launch. Winds, again, they're still looking a little bit marginal, so we'll keep an eye on those. We're not working any other technical issues, and the range is expected to be green. If we can't make our test today, we have backup launch opportunities in the coming days. Could be 24 to 48 hours. All just depends on how far we get into the count. So check back in with everybody in just a little bit. For now, though, I'm going to send it back to Kate and Shiva out at Hawthorne.
Very nice.
Thanks, Dan. The countdown is continuing to progress, so let's take a closer look at the world's most powerful launch vehicle ever developed. Starship is comprised of two elements, the ship, which has 6 Raptor engines, and the Super Heavy booster, which has 33 Raptor engines.
Insane.
Starship is capable of about twice the thrust of the Saturn V rocket, and with future engine upgrades, it will actually be 3 times more powerful.
Now, with those future improvements, that'll allow Starship to carry somewhere between 150 and 250 metric tons to orbit, depending on the configuration. For reference, Falcon 9's heaviest payload to date is just over 17 metric tons. So with Starship, we're talking about an order of magnitude greater in terms of payload capability to orbit. And that matters because the amount of mass we're able to launch per rocket is critical to creating a self-sustaining city on Mars.
In terms of size, the Super Heavy booster alone stands about 71 meters or 233 feet tall and is about the same height as a fully integrated Falcon 9. The ship stands about 50 meters or 160 feet tall. Stacked together, the booster and the ship are by far taller than the Statue of Liberty, which stands at 305 feet tall with its base. Stacked together, Starship is 396 feet, so quite a bit taller there.
Now, Starship's first stage has a diameter that's about 2.5 times that of Falcon 9. And we've got those 33 much larger Raptor engines, this great view of the launch mount looking up at those engines. And we need them to power through the Earth's atmosphere and gravity to deliver those massive cargo and payloads up to space.
Attempt number 2,
Moving
they had
up the rocket, Starship is designed for vertical takeoff and landing on any hard surface. And that's as opposed to taking off and landing on a runway as aircraft do. And that's important because there are no runways on the moon and Mars where we're going. The ship, which we're looking at now, features 6 Raptor engines. 3 of them are sea-level engines, 3 of them are vacuum engines. That means that those vacuum engines are optimized with a larger engine nozzle to operate in the vacuum of space and get us higher performance.
The ship is also outfitted with 4 flaps to help aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable a precision landing. The body of Starship is also wrapped in a heat shield made up of 18,000 hexagonal ceramic tiles. Those are designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry, where temperatures can be as high as 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm trying to balance.
One of our test objectives today is to verify how Starship systems and thermal protection system tiles perform during reentry. And in between the first and second stages is our hot stage, which is critical for our newest separation technique, which we saw in action during flight test 2.
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting first for our team. Hot staging had never been done before as part of a reusable space transportation system, let alone on a vehicle with the size and power of Starship. Now, at about liftoff plus 2.5 minutes, the booster shut down most of its 33 engines,
Can you hear me now?
leaving just 3 of them running.
And then
the
ship
simultaneously ignited all 6 of its engines. Some clamps separated, and the ship thrusted away. That was the first in-flight test of the heat shield, and we were able to gather a ton of valuable data about hot staging.
We maximized the vehicle's performance by leaving 3 first-stage engines on, so gravity can't rob us of precious velocity, or at least not as much. Hot staging also helps to ensure the ship's liquid propellants are at the bottom of the propellant tanks, which is where we need them to be in order to quickly light the ship's engines. It also reduces risk at stage separation because it creates a passive staging system so that physics will be doing the work instead of mechanical parts pushing the 2 stages away from each other. Ultimately, hot staging could increase Starship's payload to orbit capacity by 10%, which directly translates to more payload and more people to the moon and Mars.
Now, the first stop will be the moon, and the SpaceX team has been hard at work proving out all of the systems necessary to make that possible. Critical systems for propulsion, life support, and even the elevator that you see here, which will take crew and cargo from the Starship hatches down to the lunar surface, are currently in development. And the data that we gather from each test flight helps inform their design.
Testing.
Here
Still
we've
got
a photo of some of the mock-up suits that are used to demonstrate the range of mobility that astronauts will be expected to have. And we were using these to do human factors demonstrations and figure out the layout of the elevator. So all awesome development work for a future moon mission.
Super cool. Now, SpaceX will perform one uncrewed demonstration flight before NASA's Artemis 3 mission, which will be the first human surface expedition since 1972. After those first expeditions, we'll be ready to fly more people along with everything it takes to build a moon base. There's so much to look forward to. It's incredible that humans are finally going back to the moon.
You couldn't have said it better, Kate. And the moon is just the proving ground. It's just the start. When the time comes to make the leap to Mars, everything ramps up by orders of magnitude. The logistics of supporting an entire city on Mars are daunting and will require millions of pounds of cargo flown from Earth and spread out over thousands of launches.
And today's flight test is one more step toward that ultimate goal. We're currently at T-minus 11 minutes, 47 seconds. Let's check in with Dan once again for a countdown.
Okay, I think we're a little bit better now. We'll find out one way or the other. I'll just speak up.
Hey, Kate. Still good news from down here at Starbase. We're not tracking any technical issues that are going to block us to a launch. Our T0 time still holding to 8:25 a.m. Central, so just about 11 and a half minutes from now.
11 and a half minutes.
The real thing we're going to keep an eye on is the winds once we get there. We do have that potential hold at T-minus 40 seconds where we can hang out and either let winds die down, make sure we're in the right structural limits, everything like that. So don't be surprised if we do a hold at T-minus 40. We've done those on previous flights, but we are not tracking any technical issues. The range is going to be green for launch, so all that really great news. We're still loading propellant on the vehicle, on the ship.
So it's
we're just about done loading the header tanks, the two smaller tanks on the top, and then we'll go back to the main tanks are about 85% full, and then booster, both fuel and LOX over 80%. So looking good there. The launch pad itself is getting ready for liftoff. We commanded the booster hold downs open already about 20 minutes ago or so. And then that just means that once that rocket has sufficient thrust to overcome its weight, your thrust to weight ratio goes over 1, it's going to lift off. We don't have a command to actually release the hold downs once it starts up. Just also a reminder, actual liftoff happens a few seconds after you see those engines ignite. So you'll see fire, and then a few seconds before Starship really starts to take to the skies. Our range team just going to keep on making sure
a lot of weight
to air all clear as we really count down. But that's the latest.
Just a matter of
just coming up on 10 minutes before launch. Everything looking good for Starship's third test flight. Toss it back to you guys in Hawthorne.
Get booster 10, which is the bottom portion.
Now, if you've been following SpaceX over the years, you've no doubt heard us talk about our goal of full and rapid reusability. Nearly all of the Falcon boosters flown last year and this year have been reused, or as we like to say, flight proven.
We've landed Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters 283 times since first doing so in 2015. And with Starship, our mission is to take reusability even further by reflying both stages with little downtime between flights. And we plan to fly as often as possible. As we mentioned earlier, rapid and complete reusability is critical to enabling routine spaceflight. The team at Starbase has been hard at work developing and manufacturing the hardware that will ultimately take humans back and forth to the moon and Mars.
Now, even though we are not recovering Starship today, test flights like these provide the critical data that we need for every phase of flight. And that data informs future missions and gets us to that future where Starships are being recovered and rapidly reflown.
Our teams are also working on the ground systems that will support rapid reusability. When we start recovering Starship boosters, we'll want them to return to the launch site for a quicker turnaround, as you can see here depicted in this animation on your screen. This is when the tower reveals its dual purpose. After launch, the arms or the chopsticks on the tower will help guide the booster into position to ensure a soft landing. Now, if you're thinking that this sounds hard or even impossible to do, well, that's the inspiration for naming them chopsticks. Some of you might recall a little film called The Karate Kid, where Mr. Miyagi famously taught the main character, Daniel, that if he could catch a fly with chopsticks, he could accomplish anything.
Now, today we do have 4 ships and 4 super heavy boosters built, with more coming off the production line as our Star Factory continues to grow. These vehicles are slated for future flight tests just like today's. And in fact, just this week, we static fired our next ship that's planning to fly and expect to test the booster as soon as the launch mount is free from today's flight test.
So
now, as a reminder, today is still just a test. While we really hope to get our splashdown location in the Indian Ocean, but any data received will help us improve. It's the third of many future flight tests for Starship before it becomes fully operational.
And that's the goal of flight tests. They teach us about the limits of our design and improve our understanding of the vehicle, and ultimately help us make Starship more reliable and rapidly reusable. So whatever the outcome and however far they are moving fast at Starbase, and that's exactly how we like it.
Yeah,
rapid
exactly.
iteration is a key of SpaceX.
Trial and error.
We've done it with all of our major innovative advancements, including Falcon,
scenario works pretty good for
Dragon, and Starlink.
And,
we believe that if you're not failing, you're not learning and improving the design.
Yeah, many of the innovations that we've developed have come from our failures, and they teach us how to avoid the perils of spaceflight. It's a tough business. But all of this testing, all of the iterative design allows us to make the design better and better to do some of the great accomplishments with reflight that we've had so far.
Exactly. One of the examples that we love to talk about is the Dragon capsule, like the one located behind Shiva and I here on the mezzanine.
Because
originally,
they are surrounded by wetlands, so they have to have
Originally, it was not designed to be reusable. We wanted to prove the initial design, and then when we brought Dragon 2 online, we had to do a lot of corrosion analysis based on flights that had splashed down and analysis on hardware received there. And now our Dragons are reusable and also rapidly at a much rapid pace than they used to be.
Yeah. So I mean, great learnings from our original Dragon to our new crew and cargo vehicles have directly improved the operations, and they've helped us change our understanding of what's possible when it comes to rocket and spacecraft reusability.
Out there that use some pretty nasty.
Now we're just under T-minus 6 minutes, so I think it's another good time to check in with Dan for the rest of terminal count. How are we looking, Dan?
Oh, venting.
Next Shiva, we're looking good. 5 minutes, 35 seconds, and we're counting down. We are just about at closing the prop load sequences on booster and ship. Just a reminder, ship we're going to close out at around 3 minutes and 30 seconds, booster at about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Once all of that prop is loaded on board, we'll have about 10 million pounds of propellant on both stages of Starship. Now, after that happens, we'll go through a couple of different procedures with the ground. We'll do what's called pushbacks, clearing out the lines between our prop farm and the vehicles themselves before we get to launch. And then in the next few minutes, we'll get the final guidance system alignments, some final thrust vector control on the booster checks, and all that will be performed. And again, if we need to hold, we have a hold game built in at T-minus 40 seconds where we can hang out. It sounds like today we'll have about 15 minutes to hold at T-minus 40 if we need to. If we hit that right now, it looks like the most likely reason would be winds. We're not tracking any technical issues to our T0 at 8:25, just about 4.5 minutes from now. So, I mean, everything's really looking good. The booster's almost at full frosty, so we'll see that close out in just a couple of minutes.
Let me try something real quick.
But we're getting really close to flight, guys.
Okay, gotta give it a second, catch it up, and like I said, I'm trying to quick mute. No, I'm not using virtual cam. I'm using just straight studio. Okay, so
up until the T-minus 40
for now, what I'll do is I'll just mute whenever I talk, and then I can just turn the video back on volume-wise.
A liftoff.
Yeah, and that's something that is very different from Falcon. I'm sure people have watched our launches, and then we get right down past.
I'll use virtual cam probably next time. I have it set up, but it's kind of a nightmare to work. So
on our propellant and our system with Starship, which gives us more availability in the window, and sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes the winds dip just enough where you can launch the rocket safely And otherwise, if you didn't have that ability to hold a few minutes, you might miss that window and then have to recycle to another day.
Yeah, exactly, which is kind of like today.
Let's go. Let's go
and of the design of Starship, work those things into flight test number 4 and new objectives there that'll eventually get us to that.
So I think on X we're gonna get I have to get the stream from X now, not from SpaceX.com, because it seems like they're pushing people over to X with better quality.
And we did. So today we want to get even further than that and collect as much data as we possibly can. So with all that being said, we're going to check back in with Dan to take us through the final 2 minutes of terminal count.
2 minutes of terminal countdown. 2 minutes, guys.
All right. We are under 2 minutes away. We have closed out the prop load on the booster and on the ship. And we're starting to hear some good news.
1 minute 30.
Hold us up, so there's a good chance we blow right through that 40-second hold. So we're about 1 minute and 20 seconds away. Just walking you through one last time, we're going to see the engines ignite about 4 seconds before we hit our T0. They're going to ignite in 3 different banks. You'll get 13 of the inners, 15 of the outers, and then the last 5 ignite just 2 minutes before T0. And then after that, the quick disconnect will retract. The
1 minute, folks.
Up, and then we'll see liftoff about 1.5 seconds after T0. So we're under a minute away. Don't be shocked if we hold at 40 seconds before, but it sounds like the winds are cooperating today. And we'd be able to move right past that, not tracking any other technical issues that could hold us.
Past our QD vent gate.
Sweet. Past the 40-second mark, so the hold is not there, so they're continuing countdown.
The QD vent gate past the 40-second hold.
Go for launch.
Flight Director Ty Huntington telling the team we are go for launch. So 20 seconds to go. Let's listen in.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Holy crap, folks. That looks amazing and beautiful. Holy crap. That's insane. Better than NASA's footage ever was.
30 seconds into flight, we are feeling the rumble. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines ignited on the Super Heavy booster.
Booster and ship, avionics, power, and telemetry nominal. Acquisition of signal, Corpus Christi.
Continuing to get good call outs. Our trajectory looking nominal, systems looking nominal. Just amazing to see all 33 lit up once again. At this point, we've already passed through max Q, that maximum dynamic pressure, and passing supersonic. So we're now moving faster than the speed of sound. Getting those onboard views from the ship cameras. Now the next major milestone is going to be a hot staging maneuver. Again, we're going to be doing that in just about 90 seconds. To do that, we're going to shut down all but the 3 center Raptor engines on Super Heavy. That'll be our MECO, our most engines cut off. And then the clamps holding the 2 stages together are going to release.
2,700 kilometers an hour.
Engines, the RVACs first, the sea levels right after that.
3,000 kilometers an hour. That's insane.
I pointed out at about a 15-degree angle.
Beautiful.
So if you look close and we get good tracking, you might be able to see those center right after. And so those 6 engines will push Starship off of the booster.
Everything's looking great.
All right, counting down now. We're going to be
2
coming
others. So the first one did
right
not
around
look
the
great
3-minute
when it
mark on
actually
that
did
hot
lift
staging
off.
maneuver.
That's why it didn't last very
Again,
long.
we'll see the booster engines start to shut down. You'll see all but 3 lights go out in the middle. And then we'll see the engines ignite on ship, pushing it away. And that will start carrying the ship into space.
Amazing.
Booster will start to do its flip and then move into the boost back burn, setting it up for eventual splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Stage separation.
Stage separation. They survived stage separation. That's a major, major feat right there. And there is Starship 24.
Hot staging confirmed.
And there is
Boosters
10.
now making its way back, seeing 6 engines ignited.
So far better than the
ship.
first 2 tests right there.
Kate, we got a Starship on its way to space and a booster on the way back to the Gulf.
Oh man,
I am concerned about booster 10. If you start seeing that thing spin fast, usually that means there's a major issue.
Stunning. These are live views from Starship. First stage is currently performing the
ship avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
Good there. News informing us that the second stage or the ship, everything looking good, nominal there. First stage is currently performing the boost back burn, expecting that to last about 1 minute. That boost back burn. That boost back burn propels the booster back towards the coast, taking it to a landing.
Yeah, I love it when they do the split screens. Oh my God, that's just like, and NASA doesn't do this shit with cameras. It's like you throw up some freaking quick cams or something. I don't care.
Be able to see that in the left bottom corner. Those are the ones that can gimbal. In other words, they move and change direction in order to change the thrust to steer the first stage back to Earth.
Go, Elon, go.
Wow, these are just incredible views coming to us.
Crazy happy right now.
Everything is looking good for both the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen or the super heavy booster, as well as on the right-hand side of your screen, that is Starship, or we also refer to that as the ship.
Starship 24.
The boost back burn was the first
24th iteration of Starship, 10th iteration of
the next one will be the landing burn, where all 13 center engines will initially ignite and then transition into a 3-engine burn to help slow it down. Just as a reminder of the stage 1 test objectives, we're looking for controlled ascent, which we have so far. Stage separation, which gorgeous, we cruised right through it. As well as
on a nominal trajectory.
Good news there telling us that the path that Starship is on is good. Now, Starship's second stage is still firing its engines, and as you heard, following planned flight path, the ship objectives, we're looking for hot staging, again, cruised right through that. We're looking to demonstrate controlled ascent as well as orbital insertion. Now, the bottom right-hand corner of the screen shows the ship engine graphics, so be sure to keep an eye on those.
Yep, Kate, like this is just a phenomenal test so far. Super happy.
So all 6 Raptor engines on Starship 24 are lit and firing. They're going at over 12,000 kilometers an hour at an altitude of 142 kilometers. Stage 10 or stage 1 booster number 10 looks like it's coming down fairly controlled.
Those hypersonic grid fins are guiding us through the atmosphere back towards our splashdown site. Again, we're going for a splashdown, a soft splashdown. So for landing burn, we're going to expect to see the 13 center engines light, rapidly bring down the booster's velocity, and then just the 3 in the center.
Wow, look at the cloud. Look at those cloud layers. Oh my God, I just went through one cloud layer and there's a lower cloud layer.
We're getting a few engines. And acquisition of signal. Let's see if we can get some other video of that. Now, this is a test objective today. It is still something that we're attempting to learn.
All right, stage 10 or stage
and to
1
make it that far to demonstrate the controlled re-entry up to that point is pretty darn good. Ship continuing to look nominal with its ascent burn. This burn lasting about 6 minutes total. And we're expecting that this burn will end.
So booster 10 is pretty much gone. But that's okay. It's testing.
Now, so far, though, I mean, congrats to the team. Making it this far is farther than we've gone
Absolutely.
On Flight 2. Just wonderful views and great engine performance from the vehicles.
There we go. Mission control right there.
So far, we've hit controlled ascent. We're in the middle of that right now. We demonstrated the hot staging. Kate, as you said, cruised through that. We demonstrated controlled entry of the booster. Just stopped a little short of the engine relay, but hey, that's something we can learn for the next one.
At least one
that
heat
view that we
shield
just
time.
had moments ago was a live shot of Star Command. There you see it again. This is our mission control center at Starbase, where vehicle operators are standing by. Now, the next milestone coming up is in less than a minute. At that point, ship will, or I'm sorry, actually it already has.
Starship engine cut off.
There we go. As you heard there by the call out and from the crowd behind us.
Starship normal orbit insertion.
Starship 24 has made it into orbit.
After engines have successfully
Orbital insertion.
We heard a call out for nominal orbital insertion, which is incredible. Look at these views, Dan.
They have finally done it. Oh, wow, that's crazy.
I'm just completely blown away right now. What a day. Congratulations to the entire SpaceX team. I mean, this flight pretty much just started, but we're farther than we've ever been before. We've got a Starship not just in space, but on its coast phase into space. Just to recap where we've come, and it's only been 9.5 minutes. How has it only been 9.5 minutes?
They've done that in the past.
We lifted off right on time.
The second
at
attempt,
8:25 a.m. We didn't have to hold at our gate at all. We had
oxygen.
33 out of 33 Raptor engines open up and light and get us through a nominal ascent. Another successful hot stage.
Oh, this is
6 engines on the ship propelling us into orbit. We did see it.
This is world changing right now. This is bigger than the largest rocket ever to make it into space. This is bigger than the Apollo rockets. I mean, it even stands taller than the Apollo rockets. Not quite as big around as the base as the Apollo, but they're saying that they're able to carry 100 people if they do Earth-to-Earth transport. They can move 100 people around the world in less than an hour. They can go from here to Japan, which is opposite side, in 8 hours, 7 hours, where that type of flight would take you 14, 15 hours. Actually, you do it in the less. I can't remember the actual number, but it phenomenally cuts down. Getting to the moon again, huge. Getting to Mars, it's now possible.
We're seeing it in space. This is awesome.
It is now possible.
Now, we are going to be coasting for the next about 30 minutes or so. We'll be back around the T+40 minute mark. And that'll be Starship continuing to coast, hit those ambitious test objectives, and then continue on to re-entry. We're not totally sure what video that we'll get, since that normally comes to us as we overfly ground stations, and we don't have a ton of those along our trajectory. But as we have video, we'll be sure to bring that to you.
Starlink may be able to bring us additional communication paths today that will allow us to talk to Starship through re-entry with no communications blackout period. It's a possibility, but either way, we will be live for all of today's milestones. And of course, when we do have views,
signal, Puerto Rico.
especially like the ones that we have now, which I just cannot get over, when we have views, we will be sure to bring those to you live. But no views or no views, we'll see you back here at T plus 40 minutes.
Pez door is opening.
And there we just heard call it that Pez door is opening. So that's great.
First test.
Yeah. One of our test objectives today is to open and close that Pez door. That's where we will deploy Starlink satellites from in the future. So great news there that that test that test objective is already underway. So come back here, stick around till T plus 40 minutes for coverage of Starship's deorbit burn demonstration, followed by its reentry and what is sure to be an exciting splashdown.
You see Elon in there? Elon's usually there. So what do we think of this hold music, guys? Is this something special or what? I don't dance. That is just... That's just amazing. It never stops. It never ceases to amaze me, space flight. And this is just like... This is the difference between propeller planes to jet planes that can go Mach 3. You know what I mean? This is the kind of amazing leap in technology. The hold music is definitely not that great, but SpaceX can't be perfect, just like anyone else.
Pez checker.
That is actually inside the cargo area. And that's the Pez dispenser door. Took me a second. Yeah, the music is, yeah. So those of you just joining in, SpaceX has managed to get Starship 24 into orbit. Stage 1, which is booster 10. Sadly, it made a re-entry, but it had issues during relighting of the engine to slow it down before it splashed down. It looked like they lit one before, but they needed to light a lot more than but yes, the Stage 2 or Starship 24 did make it into orbit. They're now testing a Pez dispenser door, which would be a cargo door.
Where do we go?
It'd be funny if they can't close the door and they still try to re-enter it and see how it comes in with the door open. That'd be kind of funny. Waiting acquisition signal. Oh, there we go. That's another shot inside of Starship 24. Yeah, that looks like it's definitely the cargo area. I mean, I know they do have cameras inside the actual fuel tanks. There's some issues they got in the past. I think we did say something about that. That's all made out of stainless steel. You know, that super high-tech component stuff or anything like that. It's just it's Elon Musk version of stainless steel. He made a new iteration of it that's a little stronger. Beautiful thing about stainless steel is the colder it gets, the stronger it gets. So when using cryogenic fuels, it just makes sense because it's fairly strong on the launch pad. Then you fuel it up, and that metal gets even harder. And then you go up into space where it's freaking frigid, and it's kind of crazy stuff right there. Give it a little bit before re-entry, but they've left us with some groovy music, guys. Some groovy music.
Acquisition of signal, Idris.
Another shot of the inside. Oh, yep, there it is. There's the PEZ dispenser doors opening in the bottom third of your screen. And this is how they're going to launch the next version 2 of the Starlink satellites. You guys shove them out like a PEZ dispenser. I can see Elon going, how are we going to get all these? How are we going to get all these satellites out? I mean, how are we going to do the door? And he's just like, popping off his PEZ dispenser. I was like, I wonder how. God, it's just so perplexing. Oh, hey, PEZ dispenser, yeah. I don't think so. Rocket launches make me giddy. If y'all could, hit that thumbs up button wherever you may be viewing. We are viewing across the fruited plains. This is the first time I'm doing actual live multi-screen. Using Rumble Studio, so we are actually on. Let's see, I'm trying to get big. No, I don't want view channel size. I want to get the live. There we go. So we are on YouTube. We are on Twitch, we are on Locals, and we are also on Rumble. Rumble being our primary platform. So yes, thank you guys for the thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. Does help us out here. Yes, virtual camera on OBS. I'm hoping to play with a little bit more. I want video game quality, which means I gotta get 60 frames. So I can really start using the Rumble Studio primary source. So until then, just got this groovy hold music, ladies and gentlemen. I did not stream over on X this time because I figured, Elon can own that one over there. At least Rumble can put me up top in the live section, live feeds. I'm on the front page down in Science, but they got like low tide, lo-fi with one viewer. No, there's some more footage. Not sure what they're doing. We're 21 minutes into flight. Yeah, I gotta turn down that hold music. Just a little bit, because it gets a little obnoxious there. So, hopefully we're going to be flying this thing into the ground. We're going to go and stay live until they re-enter, and We'll launch the touchdown coverage. And then we'll take a brief break, and then we'll come back with our usual scheduled broadcast on the new stream. Oh, that is beautiful. Well, I'm going to take this moment to step away briefly, folks, just to grab a refill of the coffee. I'll be right back. Hold tight. It'll only take me 1 minute. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. I had to refill our coffee. All that music. So yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. Like I said, we're gonna ride this one all the way out through. We're gonna take a little break from there. Oh, actually, their flight. So what they just announced is the in-flight propellant transfer. I think they're going to be doing it from the main tanks to the header tanks to demonstrate fuel transfer in outer space, which is just a stepping stone for them to make a tanker for space to be able to send people one to the moon, two to Mars. So that's what that is. So they're actually doing that test, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, so it's currently at an altitude of 234 kilometers high. That's way up there. Going at 26,000 kilometers an hour. Very, very amazing stuff.
Starship flight computer is in the propellant transfer complete state.
Propellant transfer complete. So that was successful. That is awesome. Nope, that is not the one I wanted. So I'm still getting used to Rumble Studio, so I think I got to go here. There we go. That's the one I want. This is what they eventually want to do, is the in-flight refueling. So you have the Starship, and then you have the tanker right there. Kind of crazy. And there's a picture of Boca Chica Starbase. That's where the launch occurred. So they got other cool footage. And here's the payload delivery system. So they're testing this door right here. And that's how they're going to be kicking out these Starlink version 2 satellites, or V2s, or Rev 2s, I should say. It's going to be bigger than the current ones that are up there, of course, because, oh. Alright, it looks like they are closing the PEZ door.
PEZ checkout's complete. Door is closing.
Door is closing. Very nice. Pretty sure they'll probably pan back to it in a little bit, just to make sure it is fully closed. Oh, there we go. Yeah, like I said, acquisition of signal. You're in space. I think cell towers down here on terrestrial Earth is bad. Cell towers up in space are more. Theoretically, you think when it closes, it would get much darker. Unless they got some of their own lighting inside there. Well, that's just a payload area. That PEZ door is probably 3 or 4 feet tall right there, so you figure a guy standing right there. Oh. It's not going to close quickly either, folks. Sorry. Alrighty, we are T plus 30 minutes. We're at 30 minutes into the flight. Let me pull up the locals real quick. Of course, it never keeps me logged in. Thank you. There we go. We got some more footage. Here, they aren't really saying much. Alrighty, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are on Twitch, or those of you that might be on YouTube, please follow us over to rumble.com/MrRippers to continue with this wonderful flight. We're pulling back from our multi-stream back to home base at Rumble, so feel free to come back and join us for the rest of this broadcast. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us, and hope to see you over on Rumble.